Hey everyone, how are you today? Welcome to another edition of the Evolution Now podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Terrance Johnson. As always, thank you so much for joining me. A couple of quick notes to get out the way before we get started. As always, thank you so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it from Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button, the follow button, the share button as we work towards our goal of 100,000 followers. So as always, thank you so very much. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, we've had such a good response with the Q&A. We decided to do another one. So I have my partner here, counterpart here, Gus is here. He's going to ask some questions that have been submitted, and I will do my very best to answer them. Hopefully they will inspire you and move you in the right direction. But even before we get into the questions, I just want to let you know something, that you matter, that your life is important. Please do not give up. I don't know what you might be facing. Life is filled with ups and downs and a great deal of challenges. Believe me, I've been there. But today I just feel in my heart to share with everyone that your life is worth living. Continue to fight. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. So with that being said, let's jump right into these questions and we'll take it from there. So Gus, what we got today?
We got a few financial questions today. The first one, we got a couple times. Investing sounds so expensive. How can I get into investing with a tight budget?
How can you get into investing with a tight budget? Well, first of all, I'm not a financial advisor. Let me put that disclaimer out. But I am a huge fan of investing, obviously. What would I do? Well, I don't want to sit here and give people the wrong impression that, you can just make $1 million if you invest your money. But what you can do is this. There are many products and things available to the general population that they could use to further their financial knowledge, their financial wherewithal, and their intellectual understanding of how money actually works. I will tell you this. The worst thing you can do is just leave money in the bank. You should have some cash in the bank, obviously, but the bank's not going to give you anything on that money per se. But what you can do is if you feel as though you should find a financial advisor, I strongly advise that you do so. But a lot of the stuff, believe it or not, you can learn to do on your own. We live in the information age now. You can Google how to invest. YouTube is filled with information. There's just so much knowledge available to us. So it comes down to, what are your goals? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 to 20 years? And do you have the commitment, the discipline, and the wherewithal to see it through? Because it is worth it. And you'll never get to where you need to be if you don't get your money to work for you. So how would you do it? Start small, 5, 10, 20, anything helps. Everything matters. I will say this to you. Everything matters. How about that? Everything will matter when it comes to your finances. So whether you think it's 50 cents, 50 cents is no money. Well, it's half of a dollar. It could be half of a stock. Who knows? But everything matters. So be a good steward and have great discipline when it comes to your money, and know where your money is going. What are you spending your money on? A lot of the times, you must understand there's a difference between what you need and what you want. If your needs are met, then you can build from that to focus on your wants. So get those things in place, have the mindset to it. Join some stock groups. There's plenty of people out there that are always looking to share information and get involved with finances. Look at the financial channels on your TV in the morning when you're getting ready for work. What is on CNBC? What's on Fox Business? What are they talking about? There's a lot of information out there. So I would advise you, I know this is somewhat of a long-winded answer, but do your due diligence and make your finances a priority in your life, and hopefully you'll achieve the results that you're looking for.
We got a question from Instagram in the DMs. How do you decide what industries to invest in?
Well, that's a good question. What I always like to look at is this might sound relatively simple, but what are you using your home? What are you buying a lot of? Because everything that you buy usually is going to be traded on the public stock exchange. So, what I look at, I'm really big into fintech. I'm into financial technology. Of course, energy is always a big play. We have AI that's coming on the market. I'm sure everyone's heard about what's going on with NVIDIA and the progress that they're making. Obviously, cryptocurrencies is a huge area of opportunity as well. And so it's just a matter of you taking the time and learning about these industries and then deploying the appropriate amount of capital. I don't want to say time in the market, but the best you can to get into the market and to hopefully gain some progress. What I will say to you is there's more than one way to invest. You have your traditional way of stocks, you have trading, you have options, futures, forex. There are many different ways to make money. The deal is knowledge. You need knowledge. You know, there's a scripture that teaches us that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Most people think that's just referencing a biblical sense. No, most people are destroyed for a lack of financial knowledge. You don't know something financially, and so what you don't know will hurt you. So it's imperative that you put forth the appropriate effort, study to show thyself approved, even in your finances, if you will. So I hope that helps.
How do you incorporate current events into investing?
Oh well, this is a political year, so usually they're always going to pump the market up whenever there's an election year. It's usually there's some type of slowdown or maybe even a minor crash afterwards. But you want to be abreast of current events. As I tell my mentees, don't dwell in the news and the negative connotations and narratives that are pushed upon us, but be abreast of what's being told to you. So it's just a matter of being informed. Now, where do you go to get informed? Well, that comes down to what are you feeding your mind and your soul? What are you reading? What are you looking at? If you're watching, I'll put it to you like this: if you're watching sports outside of maybe betting on them, it's not making you any money. If you're watching entertainment on television and they're gossiping about the latest celebrity gossip, I can assure you that's not making you any money, and you're continuously feeding yourself a diet of inadequate nutrition. And so therefore, by you taking that approach, your bank account will be malnourished and find itself on life support. I hope you get what I'm saying.
This is a nice general question, but how do I improve my relationship with money?
Well, as I would tell people, your relationship with money, the fact of the matter is, money is an energy. There's no lack of money in this country. There's no lack of money in the world. It might be a lack of money where you are. And a lot of that is because of the frequency or the mindset in which you have. Let's delve into this and peel this onion back a bit. You can have an immigrant come from another country and come here and become a millionaire. You can have an individual that was born here and don't make it. You can have people that are born here and have the most dire circumstances that they are facing and wind up becoming an extremely successful entrepreneur, both men and women, black and white, across the board. The fact of the matter is, I think a lot of this comes down to your own mindset. What do you believe about yourself? How do you improve a relationship with money? Well, understand that money is a flow, it's an energy. Most of us are trading our time for money. You get up, you go to work, they pay you a salary, you get taxed, and you try to make a living over what's left over. It's just this rat race that millions upon millions of people, not just here in America, but the world itself, the matrix, if you will, how it operates. The way to escape the matrix is relatively simple. You're going to have to buy your way out. Now, how do I buy my way out? Well, it's simple. You have to use the same systems that they use to control you to get your freedom. And what do they use to control you? Ignorance. You don't know. You don't know. You listen to the news media. You listen to the, TV gossip. You're not being informed what's really going on in the economic form of this globe, and how do you participate in the way that you can really create some type of generational wealth. My advice is simple. You want to make as much money as you can, as long as you can, as fast as you can, as often as you can. And then once you get the money, what do you do with the money? So that's a very simple answer, but it has a lot of complexities wrapped around it, if you will, and what to do. But the way to improve your relationship with money is simple. Improve yourself. You see, money is an energy. If you look good, what my man Deion Sanders say, y'all know his quotes: you look good, you feel good, you play good, you play good, you pay good. I couldn't said it any better myself. The image you portray out to the world, how you perceive yourself. Do you think you're worthy of having money? Do you speak as if an individual that should have a good amount of money? How do you articulate yourself? What are your mannerisms? What are your characteristics like? And here's something else I want to point out to everyone. Just because you have money doesn't mean you have character. And just because you have money doesn't mean that you're smart. A lot of times it's just being in the right place at the right time. Remember, money doesn't have a brain, people do. So educate yourself as best as possible, and then move forward accordingly. But the best way to improve yourself, the best way to improve your relationship with money is simple: to improve yourself, your skill sets, the way you make money, because no one determines your wealth but yourself. So if they offering you $16 an hour, that's what they feel as though your level of talent, your intellect, your work effort that's all it's worth to them, and you settle for that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong, not throwing shade, but remember, If you settle for that, that's what you agreed to. No one can determine your value but yourself. That's why it's imperative you have high self-worth and high self-esteem.
How do I develop discipline?
Oh, yeah, discipline. Okay, all right. So the way you want to develop discipline is to develop a routine. And let me give you some advice. A lot of these apps that you can use to invest, they have what's called reoccurring buys. One of the things I like to do with my mentees is when we're, doing what it is that we do, whether we're doing financial planning together or we have some goals we're looking to accomplish as individuals, and we start looking at the tools that you have available to you. Learn to use the software. A lot of it can be made relatively simple where where you have to do something every week over and over again. You can do stuff like recurring buys and, kind of just take the weight off and let your wealth build over a period of time. So I hope that makes sense.
I always feel like when I hear about a trend, it's too late. How do I stay ahead of the masses?
Well, here's what I will say. I don't know if there's anything you can do to stay ahead of the masses, but what I will tell you this, there's always going to be another opportunity. So you might miss one, you might not get the opportunity. I mean, who wouldn't have wanted to buy Bitcoin when it was $1? Who wouldn't have wanted it? But now looking back on it, that ship has sailed. So, but the best thing again, that goes back to being abreast and being aware of what's going on in the culture, what's going on in the world, and particularly what's going on in our society. So just be aware. And again, where are you spending your time and what are you focusing your consciousness or your awareness to, if you will? So if you're not, again, focused on financial growth, you might miss it because you're not in the know, so to speak. So read those materials and be abreast of those materials that are dealing with finances, the markets, cryptocurrencies, insurances, whatever the case, real estate, whatever it might be. Because the opportunity is out there. Let me be crystal clear with you. The opportunity is out there. What I would advise anybody to do is you want to get to a point where you here's what I want to say to people. Let's just keep it real. Let's just be totally transparent. If you go to work every day and you come home and you so tired that you can't put an additional 4 hours into your dream, you're probably not going to make it that way. See, this is really odd for us as people. We will go to work and make a company, very successful off our talent, off our effort. And granted, they're paying us a salary or a living wage, whatever the case might be. But then everyone knows you're never going to get paid what you're worth. We all know that. That's why they offer the 401ks and all this other stuff to try to get your money to grow, because they're making that money off your labor. And that's not that they shouldn't. But the fact of the matter is you don't have to stay in that situation. It is entirely up to you. So if you don't take 2 hours a day, 4 or 5 hours a week, and dedicate it to your so-called side hustle or whatever it is you're looking to do to improve yourself, then you're going to find yourself on that rat race, if you will. What I advise you to do, that's the root word right there, is discipline, is to start doing the things you don't want to do. Do the hard things first. Do the hard things first. Set yourself up for success. If you want to go into business, hey, I'm not telling you can, I'm not telling you should. But if you want to start your own business, you can make it. Be prepared for the challenges that come along with it. Be prepared for not being paid for months at a time. Believe me, I know how that goes. Trust what I tell you that. But if you have the tenacity and the wherewithal to see it through. So, but I really want you to take this opportunity and say, well, am I taking my life in my hands? Am I driving the ship, or is the ship driving me? Am I going in the direction I want to go, or am I going in the direction that my life is taking me? Those are two different entirely states of mind. So I hope that makes sense. So focus.
How do I know when to sell?
Well, I'm not a financial planner. I don't want to get here and give you the person that I would advise that if you have someone that you're working with financially, they would be triggering those sales and things for you. I know plenty of people that are in that type of industry, and they're able to give me some advice or whatever. It's not like I'm an expert, let me reiterate that. But listening to other people who are much smarter than I am in those areas, I'll follow their advice. Find a mentor, find someone you think that's credible, and so you can follow their lead, and you'll see when to sell. You'll see when to take profits. Here's what I will tell you: learn to take your profits, and don't fall in love with nothing. Don't fall in love with any of your stocks or any of that. Those are investments. I'm not saying you shouldn't hold on to them as long as you can, but there's an ebb and flow to the economy, and there's an ebb and flow in making money. The deal is learning that ebb and flow, learning the cycles, if you will, and learning the market. But here, this is an election cycle, so look towards the market to pump up until after the election, and there might be some correction later on down the road.
What percent of my income should I invest?
As much as you possibly can. I mean, at the end of the day, scared money doesn't make any money. It's just that simple. And if you understand that, it's a term that's thrown around for many, many years. But the fact of the matter is, because of the narrative that's promoted in the country of fear, greed, anyone who has money is evil, or whatever the case might be. I've seen all of this stuff just been force-fed us my entire life while I've existed here in the United States. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to decide what side of that coin you're going to wind up on. You're going to want to look at investing as much as possible to get it to grow as fast as possible. And I'll say this, you just need to start as early as possible. Teach your children about investments, and if you're in your 50s, you still can do some success if you want. It's going to take effort and discipline. I don't want to give you the impression there's no get-rich-quick scheme. Everything takes time and effort and patience and knowledge. That's just the way creation in itself works. But I would try to invest as much as possible. Never invest what you can't afford to lose. Nobody want to take an L. Nobody want to lose any money. But at the end of the day, if the bank is giving you 0.0000% on your money, 1%, which is like $1 or something, and they're taking your money and leveraging it out in the marketplace and doing student loans, building houses, construction, you got to understand the game. It's almost like the game Monopoly, except you the one being played.
Why is there a misconception that money is evil?
Because the scripture says that the love of money is the root of all evil, and we've all heard that so many times that people associate money with being evil. But it also teaches us that money is the answer of all things. Money in itself is not evil, it's what you do with it. You give a guy who's a drunk $1 million, he's going to kill himself because he'll become an alcoholic. You give a person who has a great heart, who's kind, considerate, and giving and sharing, and you give them $1 million, they probably help a lot of people. So money in itself is not evil. It's the individual who wields the money that determines the use of the money, is the one that assigns its conscious effort or whatever that entity is going to do with it. So money is not evil. The love of it is. When you put money into the honesty, integrity, all the things we know that the world should be, and a lot of people don't. Let me sit up here and put it right. So no one want to admit that they've never told a lie. I know I've told a lie before, especially to my mom and dad when I was growing up. Somebody said, well, I'm not a thief. I'm sure I've taken a piece of candy or a pen from school or something when I was in elementary. All this stuff, we're all the same. But the way they try to sell it, or the way people promote themselves, they make it like they got all this, they got all their shit together. Nobody has all their shit together. We're all trying to figure this out and move down the road. Some of us have done better than others. This can't be denied. But I'm sitting here just talking to you as a regular person, and I'm only telling you from my experience what I've been through, not what I believe or what I hope might be true, but what I've actually had to go through. Being a father, being a husband, paying your mortgage, paying your bills. I mean, continuously for years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. It could take a toll upon anyone. How do you deal with that? Is this all this life has to offer you? Is this all I have to look forward to? Particularly when I deal with my young mentees. But if you have an elder or someone who has knowledge, wisdom, someone who can help you with some free game on the finances, free game on how to manage your life and keep things moving appropriately. Here's another big one too. Not just making money, but take care of yourself, because there's no sense in having bread and you sick. Believe me, I had to learn that the hard way. So anyway, there are a lot of things that come with that. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but I wanted to express that to the audience.
Why does the average person struggle with self-worth? Is it a societal problem?
It is a societal problem. When you're taught fear, to be afraid, everything, and then self-worth, you have to look at society. We live in a society where people are constantly trying to change what they are. You have the man, he's got to be in the gym chasing his physique. You got the woman who's got to change her hair color, get a BBL, whatever. People not happy with how they look, what they are. That comes down to your self-worth, if you will. And then furthermore, I got to do what the masses do in order to be accepted. So, everybody does this, I got to do this. Everybody is wearing their hair this way, I got to wear my hair this way. If it's more masculine, if I hit in the gym, I got everybody go to the gym. Nah, it's not like that. Everyone loses their individuality. You know what happens as you get older? You get to a point where you just don't give a fuck. You just don't care what people think about you. You just don't care what they're gonna say about you. Because at the end of the day, they never did in the beginning. All that stuff was going on in your mind. Once an individual can get their mind straight, in other words, rule your spirit, get your mind clear, be sober-minded, be clear about what you want to do. You're not worried about the ills of society, but unfortunately, in the world in which we exist, people are always concerned about their perceptions to others. I understand it, and what I had to come to understand is none of that matters. So at the end of the day, look at your life for what it is. Move forward towards a direction. The hell with what they think. Let me say that to you again. I hope the guy can come in with a close-up. The hell with what they think. The hell with what they say. I learned that. I had to learn that. The hell with what they say, man. The hell, especially if they ain't doing nothing. They're not even doing nothing. People always gonna critique you. I don't even pay attention to the comments. Someone's always got something negative to say. That's the nature of the world. You can't have the yin without the yang, the light without the dark, poor without rich, sick without health. It's the nature, positive, negative. Unfortunately, you got a lot of negative people around here that are gonna try to stop you from achieving your goals. Trust and believe what I'm telling you is facts, as the young people say.
This last question is actually from myself.
All right, what you got?
Is it beneficial or detrimental to be born with wealth?
Well, I think that it could be beneficial if it's applied correctly and knowledge is obtained. Of course, it's beneficial. You get a huge leg up. But it also could be beneficial when you don't have that, because you're taught how to the ins and outs. You, as we say back in the day, you got it out the mud. You came off the muscle. No one gave you anything. You had to learn through trial and error, and in that sense, it's OJT, on-the-job training. So there are some very valuable lessons that the person who's born with great wealth will never experience. But that door swings both ways, because the guy who's doing the OJT, there are some lessons he might never get because he was never in that circle. So it's really, they both have advantages and they both have disadvantages.
Do you feel like maybe being born with wealth might hurt you in the sense that you don't develop a work ethic, I guess?
Well, this is what I always share with my wife. I think that I have grandchildren, and my goal was to never to have them to be able to do what they want. But I would tell my wife, I would have them work, and say, well, why would you have them work? To develop social skills, because everyone is not in the position where they're privileged to live a life like that. But it's one thing to have money, it's another thing to have money and you can't relate to people. So I think that it doesn't have to be a downside if you have wealth and your children are in that environment. But if they they're lacking social skills, they can't go and talk to a person because of their environment, or they look down upon people, I really don't even blame the child in that regard. You failed as a parent. Hey everyone, thanks again for watching the Evolution Podcast. I would love for you to hit the like, comment, share, and follow button if you would. It would greatly mean a lot to me. Whereas our goal towards 100,000, that's our mark. We're over halfway there. So thank you so much. I just wanted to add this call to action at the end. As always, remember, your mind makes it real. Have a blessed day.